Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, I rise in support of this legislation. I rise in support of reforming the administrative office of the courts. It is a failed institution that is failing the trial courts that it's entrusted to protect. For years now, we've seen the mismanagement, we've seen disregard for taxpayer funds, we've seen an unwillingness to change and reform, a bloated staff, a disastrous computer system, unrealistic construction and maintenance costs. All too often, that's just another day at the office for the administrative office of the courts. And at a time when local governments are struggling, when local courts are struggling to keep their doors open, the AOC has shifted billions of dollars away from ensuring justice, with programs riddled with delays, ballooning price tags, and management failures. I want to highlight just quickly, and I know the debate's been long, but a couple specifics of what we're talking about. Recent estimates place the cost of construction for a new courthouse in the United States of America. The highest cost is in New York City, $269 per square foot, except for California, where the AOC is spending $747 per square foot in an area near Lake Tahoe, $644 for square foot in a small county in Northern California, $269 per square foot in New York City, $749 per square foot in rural California. Imagine the courthouses we could construct if we just adopted the high cost of New York City. Let's look at their maintenance costs. This is an organization that spent $8,000 for gum repair, $5,000 to paint a closet. Our colleagues have mentioned oversight hearings, which is our job, and 2 years ago the AOC came before the Accountability and Administrative Review Committee, and they promised that the era of overinflated maintenance cost was over. They said they understood that in a budget deficit, when vital core services are being cut, that you couldn't waste any taxpayer funds. And then we just saw $21,000 to replace lights in a parking lot in Los Angeles. In my county in San Diego, they spent $210 to pave a parking lot that they don't even own. They spent another $200,000 to pave a parking lot that they lease month to month. In 2 years, the culture remains unchanged. It is a bureaucracy that, despite the oversight, despite the incentives from this body, despite the warnings from this body, that says we're counting on you to change, to do the right thing, to reform yourself, is incapable of doing it. We've all talked at length here about pay and pensions. It dominates all of the headlines. So let's talk about the AOC. In 2010, when local judges were taking voluntary pay cuts, local judges were voluntarily cutting their pay to prevent further furloughs and court closures and layoffs. The AOC gave retroactive increases to 80% of its staff. At the same time, top AOC executives are not paying one dime into their elaborate pensions. Not one dime. The top 30 executives receive a 22.5% contribution at taxpayer expense. Imagine the savings if we just made them live by the same rules that judges that they're supposed to be supporting lived by. Truly, the icing on the cake for the administrative office of the courts has to be the CCMS system. Now, we can all support technology. We can all want our taxpayer funds to be better spent, but that's not an excuse to waste money. When this system was proposed, it was $206 million, and it would be ready and operating by 2009. The AOC now estimates the system will take over $2 billion of funds and not be ready until 2016. The state's independent auditor has cited the AOC's inadequate oversight and poor management practices as the prime factor in the 10-fold cost increase and 7-year delay. Members, we cannot sit idly by and watch an organization continue to waste taxpayer funds in a period when we are asking so many to do so much with so little. You're going to have friends on all sides of bills all the time. But it's our obligation to side with the taxpayers. It's our obligation to ensure that we are promoting every agency of state government to be effective, efficient, and transparent. and I rise in support of this measure to send a clear signal to the AOC that reform is coming. Thank you.